So I just found one of the dumbest debates possible between this woman who's trying to be as politically and socially correct as possible and this guy who's actually talking based on science and statistics.
You've said things like black women are biologically different than white women.
Yes, they have different fertility windows. They have a higher rate of fertility complications. 50%
There's
higher
no
rate.
scientific evidence to prove that a black woman and a white woman are genetically different, right?
If you ask this woman, hey, is it a scientific fact that, black people tend to get less skin cancer than white people because of white skin gets sunburned easily, right? She's a dumbass.
This is like...
What are you talking
No, they are.
about?
No,
Like literally, there are genes that code for their skin color.
Yep.
There are genes that...
Exactly.
This is like government data. This is EMI, right? This is the National Institute of Health. This is the American Medical Association. Like there is no scientific evidence to prove that.
And that's a big
races-
problem, right? Because
Yeah.
No, there's no scientific
and that's
evidence
why I
about
asked.
things like IQ
Yeah.
differences. Black people are genetically different from other populations.
And I'll say that
Yeah.
again. There is no scientific evidence to prove that, right? And as people
I'm sorry. I'm stating. Do you want to ask an AI if there's scientific evidence to prove that?
No.
An AI, listen, man, out of everybody you're supposed to ask, out of all the stuff you can do research on, like this is one of the type of topics you can't just ask AI. If you get a prompt, a result from AI, ask it for the sources, go online, search the website, search the institutions, if it's on university, whatever. I'll go deeper into this later on. Let's just finish up the video and then I'll mention some stuff. Because she already said the national institution, and I can already see some problems with, people being biased based on politics and not posting certain genetic, biologic, and so on studies.
No,
this
because
is
what you're
purely based on
stating is just factually incorrect.
Yeah.
Humans are
God
genetically
damn
diverse.
this.
It's not a bad thing that humans
I'm not
are
saying it's
genetically
ever,
diverse.
I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm saying there
Yeah.
is no scientific evidence.
And I'm saying that is a factually...
he's saying that there is scientific
There
evidence.
is scientific evidence. There is
Based on-
overwhelming...
So based on her logic, me being white isn't genetic. I chose to be white. If you're watching this and you're fucking, I don't know, Indian, black, white, Asian, this ethnicity, this, whatever, right? You chose to be that, right? You weren't born with that, right? It wasn't genetic. You were just chosen to be this race.
Scientific
Based on-
evidence.
and this is-
basics. No. This is like saying the sky is not blue. Like it
He
is
can give
genes
so
that they
many
code
better-
their skin color, right? Those genes are obviously different in them than they are in us. How is that not science? That's just like a basic fact.
He can give so many better examples. I just didn't want to continue. I just wanted to listen to what he was
The
supposed to
genes
say.
that code their skin color, their level of melanin production, are different from my genes.
There
And
we
they-
go.
And
Yeah, that's a
precisely
good
why I was asking
example.
This question, because I think for some people that do believe, like you, that people are genetically different, that has historically been used to promote racial hierarchies, right? And that's why I'm asking you, because
But so
So yeah, she is right. That has historically been, used to promote racial hierarchies and, actual racism. So you don't really need to be, a biology major or a PhD in genetics or biology or molecular whatever, right? But you just think about it. If a group of people for thousands of years, for generations, lived in Siberia, and a group of people for thousands of years, for generations, lived in sub-Saharan Africa, there's no way they're genetically 100% the same. There's no way. For one, the climate, the temperature, huge difference. Secondly, agriculture, the type of food they can eat, huge difference. Thirdly, the types of animals that they can use for farming, for traveling, for eating, huge difference. All that stuff has a huge impact, a huge effect on how, people genetics evolve through thousands of years. For example, have you noticed how depictions, movies, for example, of depictions of Vikings are very hairy? That's actually true. People that live in more northern parts, in colder parts, for example, Siberian Russia, Norway, Sweden, so on, right, tend to be more hairier than people living in Africa or India and so on. People who are darker toned, who have lived for thousands of years in a warmer climate. That's normal, because having a hairier body when the fucking temperature outside is mostly cold is advantageous, and having a darker skin and less body hair when the temperature outside and the sunlight is fucking destroying your ass every single day is an advantage. So there obviously really is a lot of differences between people of different races, even people of different ethnicities. Also, if she's saying that there's no genetic difference between, different people from different part of the world that have grown up for thousands of years and have different genetics, if she says that they don't have different genetics, then diversity doesn't exist, right? Then what does DEI mean then? It's nothing. Everybody's the same, right? So nobody lives in a diverse society, right? That shit is a myth. No, I live in a diverse society. These guys from the US live in a diverse society. Probably everybody watching this, most likely most of you live in a diverse society. If we go by this, and if you agree with her that there's no genetic difference between, black and white women in this case in their debate, then you agree that diversity is a myth and doesn't exist, because diverse people, everybody's the same. Nobody's diverse, nobody's different, right? So let's talk on another problem that she mentioned.
There are genes that code for their skin color.
What-
There are genes that...
Again, this is like government data. This is EMI, right? This is the National Institute of Health. This is the American Medical Association. Like there is no scientific evidence to prove that.
And that's a
different
big
races-
problem.
So here's another thing. A lot of the times, these kinds of scientific sources or scientific experiments people do, or a lot of the times from institutions or colleges and so on, right? Try and look for the source, for the person that actually wrote the article, or the person who did the whole experiment, or all of the people who did the experiment. Why is that important? Why I've noticed that it's important? Because if you can find these people online, you'll see if they are very political, if they're very right-leaning, or if they're very, very left-leaning, especially if they're on the far sides, the far left or far right, you may notice a lot of, bias based on their politics involving the study, and the study might not be as, actually honest and real as we would all hope it to be. Another thing when it comes to more corrupt countries, or just more corrupt, fucking businesses, or if it's a private company doing this whole, research and science thingy, a lot of the times, if it's more corrupt and it has its own political beliefs it wants to push to its own, people, or whatever, right? It may say stuff that are not real, and it might push a certain type of agenda that would, put the company, the owner, in an advantage of whatever, political, business, whatever advantage, right? This goes for a lot of the scientific findings, for a lot of research, not just, this genetics between races thing.
There is no scientific evidence to prove that, right? And as people
No,
that
I'm sorry, I'm stating, do you want to ask an AI if there's scientific evidence to prove
no,
that?
I want to ask.
No,
this
because
is
what you're
purely based
stating
on
is just factually incorrect. Humans are genetically diverse. It's not a bad thing that humans
I'm not
are
saying
genetically
it's
diverse.
I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm saying there is no scientific evidence.
And I
Yeah, so it's very obvious that she's just being ignorant. And the guy, listen, my guy, I'm with you. I agree with you. But when you're debating with somebody, you gotta be calm. A lot of the times, what I've learned, now again, I'm not portraying myself as this, genius debater or something, but it's just what I've noticed. When you're in a debate or a normal conversation and you put yourself under a lot of emotion and you don't control your, output and what you say, how you act, if you're not calm and, confident, even if you're wrong, you can still be calm and just relax and listen. And if you act this way, a lot of people that are going to be on the left might see you and think, look at this guy, this is fucking crazy, far-right retard, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you gotta calm down when you're debating. And an AI, and when it comes to this stuff, AIs are also very, very politically biased from what I've seen, especially depending from, what company the AI comes from. But most of them I've seen are like center left, I've noticed from what I've seen. But yeah, that's just what I've noticed. So yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments. If you think he or she is wrong, if you think I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong. Okay, if you just want to label me as a hating bigot or racist because of the things I said, then okay, sure, but at least tell me why. Don't just insult me. And if you actually tell me some interesting stuff, some maybe also link the article you find from a institution, a college, or whatever, right? Have a nice day.